important thing that we talk about a lot when we're doing workshops and things, and we're just going to touch on it real quick, and is relational needs. We all have things that we need from one another. We need to give them to other people. We need to receive them from others. And these things are the same for everybody. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter your cultural background. It doesn't matter your gender, all of these things. And there's 10 basic ones. And we've kind of touched on some of these already in our conversation. And there are definitely biblical examples for each of these. And the first one is acceptance. And that is just receiving somebody unconditionally, willingly. It doesn't matter if their behavior is perfect. It doesn't matter if you agree on certain things. This is something we see, especially with our children. We accept you no matter what.
That's it. That's the one. There's nothing.
And this is based on Romans 15:7. It says that we are to accept each other as Christ accepted us. We didn't do anything to deserve the acceptance of Christ. He accepted us before we were even deserving of it at all. Before we were at enmity with him. So the second one, affection. That's just expressing care and closeness, physical touch, putting a hand on a shoulder, holding hands, a kiss, and then words that express affection as well. I love you. I care about you. And the third one, appreciation. We just talked about that. Expressing thanks, praise, condemnation. Condemnation is something different. Recognizing people for their accomplishments.
Let's not do that.
No, it's not good for communication.
Not good. That's a good communication stopper.
And not overlooking those little things. Remembering the little things. And, in the Bible, Paul was really good at that at so many at the end of his letters. If you read through his letters, he lists men and women in his church, in the church where they were doing a lot of great things. So that's a great example of that. Approval. This one kind of gets hairy when you're talking about approval, acceptance. What is the difference? Approval, building up or affirming one another, both the fact and the importance of a relationship. So this looks like your kid draws a picture and you put it up on the refrigerator. Oh, that's a great job. Giving approval. I'm proud of you. I'm so glad that you're my daughter. I'm so glad that we're friends.
This one could also be, just to mention it, if you were a football person, just an example as a guy, like you just lived for football, you were the star on your team, and your son plays the flute. I know plenty of dads who would try their best to coerce their son to, Approval says, the Lord made you to be a flute player, so I'm going to learn about the flute, and so I can go to your concerts. Or your daughter wants to play football. How about that?
My daughter plays flag football.
There you go. So awesome. Approval would be great. Let's do it, and I'll be there cheering you. It may not be what I would have, my hobby would have been, or my activity, but I'm going to appreciate yours.
Okay, the next one is attention, just giving interest in someone else's things, showing concern and care for others, taking thought of them. This is, watch me, look at me, see what I'm doing. Tell me about your day. How did your test go? How was that project at work? Just being interested in what's going on in the other person's life. Comfort is the next one, just responding to a hurting person with words, feelings, just sometimes being there and crying with somebody. When they're grieving over something, when they're in pain, sometimes you don't even have to have the words to say. You're just there for someone. And this is something that, God says in 2 Corinthians in the first chapter. It's a great chapter to read if you feel like you need comfort, or if you know someone and you're trying to figure out how to show them comfort. He says, we have the God of all comfort, and may he give us comfort. And it's not just so that we'll be comfortable. It's so that we can show comfort to others when they're suffering as well. So that's something to remember. Yes. And then he just goes on and it's all this great stuff about this idea of comfort. So the next one, encouragement. Who knows what encouragement is? What's the key word in there?
Encourage.
Courage.
Building courage in others. I mean, sometimes, you're being... sometimes you just need a little push to do something. You can do this. I know it. You've got this. Just urging someone to persevere toward a goal. In Hebrews chapter 10, it says, let us think of ways to encourage one another to acts of love and good works. I just love that. That just makes me so excited. You just want to go out and find someone to encourage, to do
When
great
our
things.
kids were younger, the brother would not encourage Hadley. When she was first learning to play the video games that he played, he'd say, "Oh, come on, that's easy. Like, that's encouragement. That's easy. You can do it." And she was having a hard time with it. That's not encouragement. Maybe it would be, "I know this is hard, but you can do it."
Yeah.
It would be,
Yeah.
that's,
But you can still do it.
you can do it. I know you can do this.
I know you can do this. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just 2 more.
Respect. 3 more. Respect. We talked about that. Valuing, regarding others highly, treating other people as important. That's showing respect to them. Sometimes it could be apologizing when you're wrong. That shows that you respect for somebody. Asking before you make plans that involve other people. Listening without interrupting. Using an appropriate tone of voice. Listening to other people's thoughts and ideas, especially when it comes to making decisions in your whatever it is that you're involved in. Security, that is trying to keep your relationships in harmony, free from fear or the threat of harm. Not threatening to leave, not threatening to harm in other ways. Just saying that, no matter what, we're here, we're together. That builds incredible security.
Yeah.
Support is the last one, and that's just coming alongside somebody and gently helping them with a problem or a struggle, providing appropriate assistance. Doesn't mean you have to do it for them, but you're right there with them,
Yeah.
helping them as they need it.
So let's end with a thought on this. I know we just kind of blacked out this thing,
Yeah,
but
and like, what does this
is
have to do with communication?
Well, okay, so this is superpower. So what we're going to do
Yes.
is we're going to send you, I think we should send them that little assessment.
We do. Yeah, we can.
So there is a way that you can look at this list and figure out, all of us, I mean, every person needs these in their relationships, but all
And
of
you
us
need
are going
all
to
of
have
them,
3 or
to some
4.
What the main
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
that you gravitate to.
There's going to be
Yes.
2 or 3 that really jump out, and it's going to be based on your experiences. Security is my top need, and it's because my dad ran out on me. I mean, that's it. I mean, it took me a long time to figure out that's what it is, but that's what it is. And so you're going to have those things going to drive you. If you can figure out, nobody's going to be perfect at all this, but if you can figure out what are your core needs in your relationship, 2 or 3 of those, and the people who get closest to you, allow them to know what those are, and they are building into those, that's going to build all kinds of trust and help you with all of your communication. And if you're willing to learn that about them and put that into them and your kids. Now, they're not going to be able to understand the pouring into you side of this, but you can figure out, you can let them do this as whenever they get old enough to think this through, depending on how old they are. And you really start giving them those big ones, that will open up a lot of bridges to communicating.
The
Because
thing I told you is, me and my kids need to find language. of
yes,
love.
so you know what we're
And
talking
so-
about. Yep.
And that's how we built our better relationship as they became mid-adults.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
it helped a lot.
Yeah.
Because my younger daughter and I sometimes will crash like 2 train wrecks fast doing 100 miles an hour. But
Yeah.
that really did help us
Mhm.
to learn one another and be better communicators. Not saying we're the best.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, we're none of us perfect.
And if you'll take the time for you to figure out what are those top 2 or 3 core needs, what that's going to tell you is when I'm in relationships, what is it I'm trying to get out of those relationships? Because I might not always know. But once you figure that out, you're going to see what's working in your relationships and what you get frustrated about and why.
And you can better communicate,
And you can
how the
communicate
other person
that.
can give you what you need.
Yes.
And then when you're looking at other people and kind of figuring out what their needs are as well, then you can communicate to them more effectively
Yes.
to speak to their needs.
Yeah, exactly. These are all, so we'll send you that. These are all the one another's of the Bible, so they all have Bible roots to them.